Well, hey guys, this video is really informal. I'm just out here in my yard today doing a couple things. I'm going to be pulling some tulip bulbs and planting some stock, and then yeah, just kind of finishing up some garden tasks. So I thought I would turn on the camera and kind of share with you what I'm doing, and hopefully you'll find it helpful. Flip the camera around and I'll show you a couple things in the garden. So this is my second succession sowing of stock. So you can see this is the first sowing that I did. I did this sowing about, I would say 5 weeks ago now, 4 or 5 weeks ago. Sorry about my dogs barking. So you can see I pulled out the tulips here already. So let me show you what I did with them here in just a second. But here's my next batch to pull up. So these are all done for the season, these tulips. And you can see I have another, that same time I did a sowing of stock. So this is going to be more stock. I know I went a little heavy with the stock, but I think because I sowed the seeds at different times, hopefully I'll get a longer season with them instead of just because they are kind of a one and done flower. And then everything here is looking pretty good. This is more stock. I've got some cruspedia here and some straw flower. I just recently put this in and I noticed some of the leaves were damaged. So I'm gonna go in and groom them. But right now I'm just kind of letting them rest. And then I do have some peas coming up, but I noticed big blank spots as well, especially right through here. So I'm gonna get in there and do another sowing of peas. Because I think that part of the bed got a little dug up by an unnamed cat, my own cat. So anyway, that would be Mr. Midnight. And then over here, I just put in a bunch of snapdragons through here, and then more stock through here. So you can see I've got white Orlea here, and then more stock there. So I definitely am heavy on the stock right now. I also have some other things in the greenhouse that I could also put in these beds, so I might do some thinking on that. And then in here, I've got more snapdragons. I've got my ranunculus, which, you know, I probably need to go ahead and get this off of here at this point because I know they like cooler temperatures, and it is getting warmer, but you can see they're like doing really well. And yeah, so I'm happy with that. And then again, my tulips here, I'm ready to pull those as well and turn this bed into something else. So this is my next area I'm going to be working on. So you can see right through here, I'm going to go ahead and pull all these tulips. This one, the bulb got damaged when it was young, so it never really did anything, but I'm going to pull these and then I'm just going to be putting them in a big bucket of water for now. Now I'm going to try to either plant these in pots or maybe in the landscape. Right now I'm thinking more about planting them in gallon-sized pots so that if they come back next year, great. If not, I can just, you know, get rid of the pot and maybe dispose of the bulb at that time. But I have a feeling they will come back if I plant them that way. Excuse me. And then this is the rest of the stock. So once I plant these 2 flats of stock, that will be it. But that's my next like big harvest plan basically. So I did the tulips. I'm going to hopefully have stock, or I can, you know, separate it out and use it in bouquets as well. But it's definitely going to be like one of my main flowers I'm doing in my little micro flower farm. So here's the bucket of tulip bulbs that I already pulled, and you can see basically you just grab them by the root and go ahead and pull them out. Now I'm going to try to get these planted as quickly as possible, but they can sit in a cool, dark spot, so I might move them. In fact, I'm going to move them right now out of the sun. I was intending for them to be more on the patio in the shade. So anyway, yeah, that's much better. And they can just kind of hang out and until I can get them planted up. Now, as I'm pulling these out too, I'm also going to be labeling them. That's one mistake that I have made in the past, just in doing gardening in general, is like labeling, right? Sometimes it gets me, or I think I have a label on something and I lost it. Like I have one tray of seedlings in there, not a big tray, but like a starting, you know, tray, and the tag's gone. And I'm like, I don't even know what this flower is. I'm like trying to take pictures of these little sprouts and identify it. I'm like, why is there no tag? So tell me if I'm the only one. Do we have like, I feel like I have a tag problem, like a labeling problem. I don't know. But anyway, I digress. So my plan is to get these labeled when I pull them out. So I know these 2 buckets were a certain type. They were basically like yellow and coral. And I'm gonna look back at pictures too. And so then I'm gonna go ahead, when I plant these up in the smaller pots, I'm gonna label them so I kind of know what's what. I might also look back at video or photos and see like what dates they were blooming. So that's another tip I have for you. I mean, I video myself. Obviously not everyone does that, but just take pictures, right? Just take pictures of your garden, and then that way you can be like, okay, this bloomed at this particular time. I have a little journal that I keep, so I should do another video about that. But anyway, so that's what works for me. So there's a tip for you and what I'm gonna try to get better at in my own garden. A little bit leggy, so I'm actually going to plant them a little high. Nothing wrong with doing that with this particular type of plant. So since I have some room in this bed, I am gonna go ahead and plant up some white gomphrena. I'm very excited about it. I have a few more plants, but I wanna see how far I get. And let me show you, it is already blooming. So I'm trying to decide, look at that gorgeous little bloom. I don't know if you can see it, it's bouncing around. But I'm trying to decide if I should cut, this first bloom off. It's kind of what I'm thinking about doing just for the health of the plant, but it just kills me to do it. So let's go ahead and get them in the ground. I went ahead and got the rest of the tulips pulled up, and I'm noticing this bed's a little dirt shy, or at least there's like a hole. So I might need to go grab some dirt too, but kind of in a hurry and just kind of wanting to get it done. So let's kind of go for it here. Here we go with the white gomphrena. Side of my toe attacks, okay. So I did grow these from seed. I'll show you the root system on this one. Oh, it's so pretty. It's a nice healthy guy. So this one, I'm gonna keep this cover on this bed, I think, for a little while longer. I don't know if that was a ranunculus bulb I just hit or what. Like I've got a bee in my face. Anyways, I am gonna keep the cover on it. So we'll see how they do with the cover. All right, well, I'm feeling pretty good about it. I successfully kind of flipped these two beds from the tulips to the stalk. So everybody's in here. I didn't plant this one. I don't know. I'm gonna kind of quarantine it for a minute. It doesn't look the best. It looks like it might have some buggy damage or something. So that's why I didn't plant that one. But then in here, I'm shy by a couple, but that's okay. I can put a stepping stone or something here to help me reach into this bed. This bed is a little bit big. So I'm trying this year where I'm gonna try some little bricks, or I kind of have an idea. I have an idea for something crafty I can do. So something kind of DIY. So anyway, but yeah, so I'm excited that I got those all pulled and the tulips are in the shade in buckets, and that's how I'm gonna try to, you know, keep my tulips, plant them up, but also, you know, maximize my space in a small flower garden. All right, well, we have nice fresh Dogvita in here, and I think it's gonna be good. I couldn't fit as many as I would like because I do want them to have some room. And then right as I was feeling really good about that, guess what I went in the greenhouse and found? More stock. It's the stock that won't quit. When will I be done planting the stock? I don't know. I'm gonna go shove these in the ground somewhere just because I'm a weirdo and I can't waste them, and I don't know. I guess I could stick them in a pot, but I'm bound to determine to go find a place. Right, Max? Max is like, I'm having a great time out here. My mom's out here. All the neighbor dogs are barking. It's great. Oh, gardening with dogs. Gardening with dogs. Yes. I know. Okay, bye. So I'm working on a little project today, and I thought I would video this and just kind of include it in, you know, growing more cut flowers. So what I've done is turn this bed. So this bed used to look like this. It was filled with tulips. Tulip bulbs. You can see I'm pulling them out. They are all done for the season. And then I put these two panels up, and they actually separate apart like a kind of like a triangle, but I'm just propping them up against our siding. Now that may or may not be a good thing, deciding if depending on if we paint our house this summer, but I think it'll be fine. It's fine, right? And then I've got some cosmos, and you can see they are just all budded up. They're ready to bloom. Now I definitely could pinch these and get more branchy plants, which I probably will go ahead and do. Look how pretty that one is right there. And then this is my winter sowing of cosmos. So I would say I got probably just about as many in the winter sowing as, you know, regular sowing under grow lights. The ones that have been in the greenhouse are a little further along and they're budded up, but cosmos get big and they get kind of wild. So what I was thinking is they could kind of grow up this trellis, and then if they get too wild, I can even kind of lash them to the trellis to kind of keep them in check. And then over here I have sweet peas, and these definitely need to get out of their cans. I noticed in the greenhouse they're starting to yellow, which probably means they need more nutrients and maybe a little less, you know, heat that's in the greenhouse, because these are cool loving flowers. So I think they're going to really love being out here. Now this bed does get afternoon sun, but it gets a lot of morning shade. So again, I'm planning to train these up the trellis. And then I have some different things I'm going to be putting in the front. I have some different choices for what I'm going to be putting in the front of the bed. So I'm trying to make that decision next. But I thought I would just kind of show you the bed and how it's progressing and moving on to summer planting. Here's the 4 buckets of tulips, 5 actually, small buckets that I took out of that bed. And you can see I started the other bed, just a few. These are all my daffodils that I pulled last night. In fact, my son helped me pull all the daffodils. So I have 3 big buckets of those. And I am going to be replanting these throughout my landscape. They will naturalize here. And so I'm just going to pop them around the landscape, find some places to bring in some spring color. I might also plant some in some pots. And here are some of my options for what to plant in that bed. I've got some straw flower here. I've got some statice that just looks amazing. Look at the shape of the leaves. Isn't it just a pretty plant? So that one I'm hardening off. It's been indoors, so I have it here in the sun, and I'm kind of hardening that one off still. So if I did the statice, I might have to wait a couple days. The straw flowers is ready to go. It's ready to plant out. And then over here I have some asters, and I think these are a salmon aster. And again, I feel like they're not that happy in the greenhouse. They keep wilting. You know, I'm starting to get some leaves here that need groomed and such. So I definitely want to get these in the ground. And again, these are hardened off. So what I'm going to do is look at the different heights for these options here and try to figure out, you know, what would be the best thing to plant next after that sort of tall planting in the back. These are the beds where the daffodils were, so you can see they're all cleaned up and ready to go. And my plan for these is to do all my dahlias here. So I'm gonna run these 4 beds of all dahlia tubers, besides the gladiolus. I have some gladiolus that are kind of gonna come back at the back of this bed. And I don't know, I might move them after this year, just so that I have, you know, I have a clean bed, so to speak. But I still have one flush of tulips that's getting ready to come on, you guys, and look at the color. Sorry about my band-aid. Look at the color. It's like a deep, dark purple, almost black. And these are the parrot tulips that have that ruffly top to them. They almost look like alligators to me. Don't they look like little alligators? They're so cute. Anyway, so I'm hoping to have a flush of blooms. Look at that one. It's like a mutant. It has like 3 bloom heads on it. So anyway, that'll be my last, kind of the last here of the tulips. Well, except for this guy. I guess he's the other variety that I harvested most of. And then I've got one more of those here and one more here. So anyway, that's going to be where my dahlias go. And I think it'll look consistent and hopefully be more easier for harvesting for myself. Because before I had dahlias like in the landscape, in raised beds, and I was running all over, like thinking of ease of harvest. Like these are all going to be dahlias. I have enough to fill these beds, and that way it's just going to be a little easier as I'm like collecting ingredients for my bouquets. And then I wanted to show you these. These are alliums that are coming back and are naturalizing here, and they're doing really well. So every year I'm getting more and more blooms. There's my hydrangea. But you can see they're about ready to show their stuff. So it's fun that the daffodils in this bed are done, but now the alliums are gonna come up. And then in my veggie bed, I've already pulled the daffs. I'm gonna pull these tulips probably today, except I'm out of buckets. So again, I might work on this another day. I'm gonna focus on the beds over there and getting some seedlings planted out. So I just looked up some information, and it looks like the status is going to be the tallest of what I've got here. These ones only get about 24 inches, the straw flower, but the status gets pretty tall. And the asters are also about 24 to 36 inches. So those ones are a little bit shorter too. So I think what I'm going to do is plant, you know, the ones that I had there already, and then next do these, and then maybe a row of the asters or the straw flower, if there's room. All right, well, here is the first row planted up, and you can see I've got the cosmos here in the back, again, because they will get tall and a little wild. And I've just kind of leaned them up. I did sacrifice the blooms, and I pinched them so that they would get more bushy and less, you know, kind of tall. And then the sweet peas, again, I like using these little skewers because then I can literally I kind of just like lean them up against that, and then they will hopefully take off and, you know, go up the trellis. The cosmos aren't as much of a climbing plant, but like I said, I can kind of lash them to this, I think. But definitely the sweet peas will. They will trellis up and they will fill in this whole area. They're pretty aggressive. At least that was my experience last year, but I'm excited to see what colors I'm gonna get. These are all seeds I collected last year. They're not ones I purchased. So it's really cool that like now I have all these plants from my garden, you know, last year, and I'm able to use them this year. And then I did decide, since it was hardened off, I'm going to do the straw flower. I have this whole row. I have this small tray and then another small tray. So I might just do, I don't know, I might just fill in the rest of this bed, or I might do a row and then maybe do a row of the asters. And all right, so I decided to do the front of the bed with the salmon asters. I looked them up, and they're actually a summer blooming aster, and I actually did some research on the seeds I actually bought and grew, you know what I mean? And turns out they're a summer plant. They're gonna look gorgeous here. I will try to drop a picture, but I'm gonna have them line the bed here in the hopes that I did a good job with, you know, tiering the plants. So I've got the tallest things in the back, kind of the middle, you know, row of height wise, and then something a little shorter in the front, or at least that's my hope. We'll see how this goes. And then I kept out 10 of the asters so that my plan is to continue to line this bed. So hopefully that will provide some, you know, a consistent look and some unity to the space. I'm always thinking about, you know, my design principles and like how to incorporate things. So it's actually the next day since I planted up this garden bed, and I'm really excited how everything did overnight. And then I did start planting this one. So I put the bells of Ireland in the back, and then more of the asters to line the front of these beds. And you can see I still have lots of room. So I have a plan for the rest of this bed, but things are sort of hardening off right now. But this one seemed to take really well. Now I did realize after I planted all of this, I put no biotone down, which is, you know, whatever. An error on my part. I'm gonna flick this up here while I'm talking. I need to kind of get in here and, you know, maybe trellis these up a little bit, or kind of help them start to trellis up, I should say. Anyway, I think I'm just gonna sprinkle some biotone on the top and maybe water it in. I'm really bummed that I forgot to do that step, but I am so excited for how this bed is gonna look in a couple months. I can't even. So my plan here, I've got the bells of Ireland. I'm gonna do a purple sage back here, or I'm sorry, purple basil. Sorry, my voice is so bad. Purple basil back here, which will get really tall. I grew it last year for cut flowers and I loved it, and it smells so good. And then another planting here in the middle, which again, I'm waiting for those plants to harden off. For the video, that's going to be it for my gardening task tonight. I'm tired. I worked all day, so I'm going to go inside and relax. But thanks for hanging out with me, and you know, I hope that it was helpful to see me pulling those tulips, and you know, I'll report back. I'll let you know how it all goes. But yeah, thanks for hanging out with me in the yard tonight.